So a few years ago, I had worked on a project that didn't go well. I messed up, and quite honestly, I'd messed up a lot. And it was a few weeks after the project had closed out that I was being sat across from somebody influential in my life at the time, and they were just very honest with me about how much I sucked, about how I had failed, and how I should probably just give up. Like, it was really kind of like a bottom line in that conversation was like, you need to start over, you need to rethink through things, maybe even think about a different career path. Like, it was really like the heart of the conversation. There was no good feeling that really came out of it of like, there's no way to reconcile, there's no way to move forward. And I was feeling defeated. And I don't know if you've ever been in that moment where like you've messed up and you're at this point of defeat and you're just wondering like, what on earth am I supposed to do next? And it's when we often hit this point of defeat that a mindset tends to creep in. And it's this mindset that allows us to become a victim to the things that are happening around us, a victim to the things that are happening around us. I was in a conversation just this past week with some of my leaders who I get to lead on a regular basis. And we were talking through this idea of like, we refuse to be victims to the things that happen to us or to the problems or challenges that come up. Instead, we're going to figure out how we approach those problems or challenges head on and in intuitive ways and in ways that promote us moving forward and not being hindered by them. But so often we'll hit these moments where we'll run into a problem and we will become a victim to said problem. Now, and I want to be clear, like there are some problems in life that like we are a victim to, especially problems of like abuse and things of that nature, right? Like I don't want to discredit any of that. But I'm talking about when everyday hardship arises, like what will our response be? What will our response be when everyday hardship arises? And it feels like this is a conversation I'm having so frequently with people who I am in like spheres of influence with in my life right now, because I have a lot of people who are going through hard moments. And as we process through hard moments, I often wonder what my response is in hard moments and how I would approach situations that I see coworkers in, friends in, family in. And I think through that a lot. Like, and there are hard things going on in my life right now that are stressful and agitating. My mom's best friend is dying of cancer. That is stressful and agitating. I'm getting married in a few days, like 40 days, as of recording this video. And that brings with it a whole host of stress and frustration, and dealing with family members on both sides actually brings a lot of frustration at times. And sometimes it brings tensions that we have to manage and work through. And the conversation I'm even having with my fiance of like, no, we're not going to be victims to the things that happen in life. Instead, we are going to figure out how do we approach these things in a healthy way and in a way that promotes peace in the inner part of our soul, and in a way that allows us to move forward strategically. And so for me, oftentimes that is a continual mindset shift of just saying, I'm not a victim. And like we're saying those words over and over and over again as I process through things. Like, no, I'm not a victim to the things that happen in life. Life just sucks sometimes. Life is hard sometimes, and it's tough to manage, right? Like, there have been times where, like, it has been so tough to manage that I wonder how I'm going to pay a bill, right? Like, I don't know if you've ever been there where, like, you're like, the money has run out. Like that, like, I've been there numerous times, and it's like, gosh, how am I going to do this? And it's when we hit those situations or we hit those walls that you and I have to decide how we will navigate those situations, how we will approach them. And I believe that if we pick the right mindset, we can approach them in like a way that is better than with negativity, because our anxiety, our fear, and our frustration wants nothing more than for us to stay in that pit. And to stay in that pit, it's really easy to do because we'll choose this language that promotes the cyclical thinking of like, oh, life sucks, I suck, life sucks, I suck, life sucks. And it becomes this circle of like things will never get better. But if we make the hard choice and we jump over to no, life can be better. I can approach this in a way that is healthy. Eventually, doing the hard work will break us out of the cycle and push us into something really, really good for us. It's just hard to make that shift. And it really is. Like, it's a hard mindset shift to go from being a victim to life at times to moving into like choosing not to let life happen to you, but to make life happen. Like, that is a really hard shift to do. And I'm not good at it. Like, I'm not like standing here as somebody who's like an expert of like, oh, look at me, I'm perfect and I'm never a victim. No, like there are days I wake up and I go, life sucks. Usually happens every February around my birthday where like my seasonal depression hits in and my comparison trap and my imposter syndrome all sets in. And I just go, I'm not good enough. I suck. Life is terrible. And I'll fall back into that habit and that thinking. But it's in those moments when we fall into that habit and that thinking that we have to pivot, right? And figure that out, how to like break free of that. And so for me, breaking free of that usually looks like setting up newer and healthier rhythms. There have been times where like I've gone to the gym at 5 a.m. because I needed to get out of a rut, right? And so like I would do a season of like getting up every morning, going to the gym and like getting active at the start of the day and doing work at the beginning of the day for me, not for like my 9-to-5 job, but just for me so that, right, I could break out of a rhythm of monotony, right? There have been times where I don't play video games for a season of my life because they become a form of escapism and let me dwell within the crud of life. And I don't want that, right? Like that's supposed to be a fun, relaxing hobby. It's not supposed to be just some sort of escape from reality. And so there are times where like I say, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to escape from reality. We're going to confront things head on. But it's that choice of choosing to do newer and healthier rhythms and routines that often tends to be difficult for us to do. But it's always the right choice. It's always the right choice to break out of a negative cycle by making a newer and healthier rhythm. And so that's my encouragement to you today is like, if you like, you're not a victim. You're not somebody who life just gets to happen to you. You can make life happen. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. But it starts with you implementing newer and healthier rhythms. And there's going to be seasons, man, where stuff is difficult. And I get it. But I promise you, on the other side of things that are difficult, are really good things in our lives. We just have to be willing to push through and not get into this habit or this cycle of negative thinking. You can break free of that. And I just wanted to encourage you with that today. Okay, other than that, hope you're having a good day. I'll talk to you later.